Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Minnesota Vikings, played Detroit. They looked competitive, and then we were in the season of giving once again because they're the kings of turnovers. We're the kings of reckless plays, especially with a certain quarterback. But then the last quarterback did that too much. And then Kirk Cousins in the past would have blue screen of death type of situations. But then Josh Dobbs fumbled every 10 seconds and then threw ridiculous interceptions and balls bouncing all over the place. And then you have Nick Mullens who throws the ball right into opponents' hands over and over and over and over again. It's a season of giving. Merry Christmas. Christmas Eve special. Minnesota Vikings, Purple Mafia. And Detroit wins their first division championship in 30 years. Congratulations, Detroit Lions. 30-24, Detroit Lions defeat the Minnesota Vikings in U.S. Bank Stadium. Yes, being PC is a thing, but it's not my thing. Merry Christmas, everybody. And yes, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. It's okay to say it. Okay? It's Christmas Eve, Minnesota Vikings. And especially when I'm doing a podcast at 8:33 p.m. on Christmas Eve, you better freaking think I'm going to say Merry Christmas. Because if I don't, well, what the heck am I doing this for? So, I mean, why the heck am I recording at this time? So, got the Christmas tree flashing as it has for the last several weeks now. And, it doesn't look any worse than it did 5-6 weeks ago when I first put it up. It looks wonderful. It's a Wonderful Life that's flashing in the background. Either of that option or, It's a Wonderful Life. Can you imagine? Maybe just for a few minutes at least, just for the bleeps and giggles of it all. A Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve sounds extremely familiar to probably everybody listening. Unless you're, unless you were born in 2015 or something. Anyhow, what was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the Vikings played today and lost. There's that. Otherwise, Denver's hosting the New England Patriots. They're up 7-3. I'll probably click around back and forth. But what the heck, if it's Christmas Eve and It's a Wonderful Life is on, what the heck, just have it on in the background. I'm not going to watch it that closely. It's just kind of for bleeps and giggles because that's getting the mood for Christmas Eve. Nick Mullens was absolutely in that mood, and he's been in that mood. Josh Dobbs is in that mood. And the Vikings in general. Alexander Mattison has been in the mood all season of giving the ball away. He didn't today, but he only had 2 carries anyway, all for a wonderful -1 yards. Nick Mullens ran for like a split second, and I don't know. The guy can't run. His throwing is, that's the thing about Nick Mullens. You know who he is? And I talked about it on the Twitter account, and I'm going to say it again and again and again and again and again and again. Hopefully it's the last time we see him at quarterback of the Vikings, but I don't know. There's always that tease there. And let's just say he went to the same school as a guy named Brett Favre. Is it called Ole Miss, right? Or was it Mississippi State? Who cares? Mississippi State, I do believe. Southern Miss. What the hell? Okay, they both went to Southern Miss. Nick Mullens actually had even better numbers than Brett Favre in college. But, and he has that same, gunslinger, swashbuckling, whatever the heck word you want to call it, approach as Brett Favre. But he ain't Brett Favre. He's Brett Favre on crack. And that's literally what I've been saying pretty much. And you see the ability. The ability's there. And then the next player, and then 2 or 3 plays later, it's like, you're literally like you got your hands covered in your face. Like, what just happened? That was pathetic. And there's no way you're going to win football games consistently with that type of play. It's not going to happen. It's like you watch him, you look at the numbers, the 411 yards passing, that's elite stuff. It's awesome. But he panics about getting sacked and such. Again, the ability's there. And, of course, it does help when you have Justin Jefferson. What's his name? I'm getting all these Addisons and Madisons mixed up. Jordan Addison, because I do brave the wild. Kalen Addison, now he's former. He's been traded to the Sharks, but the name's still there. And then you have Alexander Mattison. Ugh, enough already. Get rid of Alexander Mattison, just like Kalen Addison of the Wild. Both of them needed to go, by the way. And just keep Jordan and we're good to go. And then the confusion will go away. Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick for the Rams years ago. Helped take him to the Super Bowl and all that. And, after that, he dropped off. But he's been a pretty good success story with the Detroit Lions 75% pass completion percentage. Didn't throw an interception. And a turnover was negated. They said it was a forward pass, so it would end up being an incomplete pass on Mr. Jared Goff. So that's unfortunate. Mr. What's his face? Patrick Jones, the second, almost had a strip sack. Unfortunately, yeah, that would have been a big moment for the Vikings, but unfortunately that didn't work out at the end of the day. So Vikings had a golden opportunity there taken away, unfortunately. I'm not that mad at the refs, but I'm not that overjoyed with them either. Just, I don't know, it was a crappy, depressing kind of situation. And quite frankly, the weather's kind of crappy and depressing too. Like, if it's going to be 45, 50 degrees in Christmas and Christmas week and this and that, it can at least be sunny. Does it have to be dreary and foggy? Like, seriously, does it have to be Seattle like the entire time? I guess. Like today, I had no energy the whole frickin' day. Like, why I have energy now? I don't know, maybe I gulped down a bunch of coffee and just kind of getting into Purple Mafia mode. Maybe that kind of helps. But, I don't know. Let's just say last year's whiteout was a lot prettier. It was a lot funner circumstances to go along with it. The Vikings were winning the division. Like, we were the team winning the division around that time. There was a lot of snow on the ground, but it was a light, kind of silky. Remember how I talked about it last year? If you're a regular listener that's been around for a long time, mostly the names you're going to hear on the show today are people that have been around for years and years with this show. And I love you guys so much. I love you and cherish you so much. But it was like it was just like a delicious, gentle frosting of snow. And just kind of like the whiteout was a perfect touch last year. And the way the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson had an absolutely beautiful game against the New York Giants. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, the tides would turn completely, and we'd frickin' lose to the Giants in U.S. Bank Stadium in a playoff game. It was disgusting. Bullcrap. And the Giants this year are disgusting and bullcrap, except for their actually pretty cool quarterback named DeVito. Good for him and his cool agent, I guess, trying to look like film noir or something, or no, more like a Dick Tracy character with the crazy colors and such. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Just the whiteout conditions, much better last year. Complain about the snow and the cold all you want. It was a light, gentle snow. It wasn't a heavy, nasty, disgusting snow. It was light and gentle. The only danger might be a little bit, tiny bit on the slippery side, but it was cold enough there wouldn't be a whole lot of ice. That's what's good about it being cold. You don't get ice. And this year, it's like too warm for ice, which is actually a good thing in a lot of ways. So you avoid the dirt and the ice, but it's so dreary and dark. It's not real fun either. And then the Vikings end up losing to Detroit, and they're the team winning the division this year instead. T.J. Hawkinson's former team, T.J. Hawkinson also going out with injury, and what looked like an apparent knee injury, but he was hitting the knee. So is it a hyperextension? Is it a bruise? What the heck? So we'll see what happens with T.J. Hawkinson, and with all due respect, do any of us care who plays or doesn't going into the next few weeks at this point if Nick Mullens is the quarterback? You can guess which word. Yeah, I almost did it. But KJ Osborne didn't get hurt. That's good. I thought he got hurt like a week ago or something. So he didn't get hurt. And then you have Johnny Munt out there, who he was wide open. You think on an explosive play something good would have happened, and it's like, well, he caught the ball. That's about it. So there's a huge difference between Johnny Munt and T.J. Hawkinson or any of the other potential receivers like a Justin Jefferson, who was spectacular in most of the game. In fact, any of Justin Jefferson's anger and frustration today was not because he blew it. It's because the passes were intercepted or missed, heading in Justin Jefferson's direction. Just flat out missed because we have a crackhead for a quarterback. Okay, God, I know that's really harsh, but kind of. The fumbles, I was cursing as well. Luckily, the Vikings would recover both of the fumbles by Nick Mullens. But it's like, oh my God, do you realize he could have had 6 turnovers today? It's not like the ball was recovered by him. I mean, it was by the grace of God that his teammates, Nick Mullens' teammates, were able to recover the ball. Garrett Bradbury, one of them. Not Ivan Pace. Justin Jefferson, one of them. We did get 1 turnover on the Lions today, because obviously one of them was negated because it was declared an incomplete pass. That was the Patrick Jones, the second, probably his best game as a Viking, by the way. The Jahmyr Gibbs running back, recovered by Ivan Pace. That was a big moment. Thought the Vikings had a chance to win this game, but I guess not. Justin Jefferson, incredible hustle on the swear word blankety blank inappropriate PC and non-PC word. It starts with an R and ends with a D. Fumble by Nick Mullens. I couldn't believe what I saw. Like, it's just really, just, I don't know. As awful as Josh Dobbs was, after a couple of spectacular performances, particularly his first one against Atlanta, but a first half that was spectacular against the New Orleans Saints. And ever since that first half, it's a different story, by Josh Dobbs. We couldn't wait to pull Josh Dobbs to get him the hell out of there, and myself included. And then, okay, we have a quarterback now who's capable, and, man, look at the yardage. I mean, when he does make plays, they're really good. But then it's like all the frustration of Josh Dobbs with the turning the ball over is right back full force with Nick Mullens. Full force. So where does that leave you? 5th round pick, Jaron Hall, rookie, who actually looked pretty good, except for when he didn't look good, when he was missing, when he missed DJ Hawkinson on what could have been a touchdown before the concussion that he had. So I'm not sure what to say. It's just the reality of the NFL. Your starting quarterback is out for the season. You're bleeped. In extremely rare cases, you'll have a miracle year, like Nick Foles and Jeff Hostetler being a championship quarterback for the, what do they call them? What the heck are they called? New York Giants years ago, when they won their second Super Bowl. Phil Simms took care of business in the first one in '86. Great New York Giants team, by the way. All the respect in the world, with a certain head coach and defensive coordinator being the superstars they are. Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick, the Bills, two of the best coaches ever. And regardless of how you might feel about them, they're the best coaches ever, basically. The other one was Mark Ripien with watching the Redskins. But that was in the Metrodome, beating the Bills pretty badly. Mark Ripien was definitely a backup quarterback with minimal skills, but at least he didn't screw his team up. See, like Nick Mullens has skills. He has skills not involving mobility. He has no mobility at all. I thought he'd have some, but it was like nothing. It was pathetic, like when he was trying to kind of like scramble a little bit and got that 1 yard out of his scramble. It was pathetic. But Mark Ripien's team around him was so damn good, it didn't matter. As long as he didn't kill them, he was just a solid game manager. The Redskins won comfortably over the Bills, even without like a Doug Williams at quarterback. So interesting situation there, so on and so forth. But yeah, a lot of times your starting quarterback is out. It's like there is such a gap between starting quarterback and backup quarterback. It's so rare nowadays that you have like two okay, decent quarterbacks. One starts, one's a backup. Like, say, there was even a debate years ago in New York in the late 90s, before they had the great season. Vinny Testaverde and Foley. Glenn Foley, I believe, was his first name. And obviously most people would have said Testaverde, and you would have been correct. But to think there was even a conversation about that, whereas at least Foley might have been adequate enough where if he was starting, it's not like, oh my God, like we're dead. Where, again, Nick Mullens, not Foles, the other Nick, had skills. It's just we're dead because of the turnovers. Six times in the game. Do you realize that? He lost the ball 6 times. Just, again, Garrett Bradbury and the incredible hustle by Justin Jefferson saved Nick Mullens' butt on those two. That could have been 6 turnovers, folks. Lions actually could have blown us out in those situations, to be quite honest. With all of that said, Justin Jefferson, spectacular performance, 6 catches, 141 yards, a touchdown. It was a great game by Justin Jefferson. It looks like Justin Jefferson again, but you saw immense frustrations on the missed pass, the overthrown pass, and the interception at the end of the game. It looked like blankety blank. Justin Jefferson might have had 200 yards in this game. Might have. Great completion to KJ Osborne, 47 yards down the field. That's Nick Mullens looking real good there. Great throw, accuracy, skills. He has skills, but then there's the blue screen of death bull crap. But yeah, luckily KJ was rewarded immediately on the next play because didn't quite get in the end zone, but a 6-yard touchdown immediately after that. So happy to see that. Jordan Harris had just 1 catch. Now, what was his injury? I believe it was an ankle, right? So, crap. Yeah, out with an ankle. And it was just like right away out. Like, you hope that isn't another Achilles. Like, when you hear ankle and out, it's like, oh boy. So, we'll see if it's like a Madison situation maybe where he's, either misses a game or, it's just he's out for this game, that type of thing. To be absolute sure. Jordan Addison has a very bright future in this league, and it would also suck, though, to see his season cut short because, those numbers are pretty sexy rookie numbers for a wide receiver, man. Didn't quite get to 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, though. I mean, wonderful draft pick, wonderful. And right around the same area where Justin Jefferson was picked 3 years earlier. So, pretty cool stuff. Not sure if these numbers are updated already. Yeah, it's crazy to think Justin Jefferson's only got 4 touchdowns on the season. It's kind of weird. But T.J. Hawkinson, we'll see if his season's over or if it's just a precautionary kind of like, don't mess around with that. A potentially bruised or hyperextended knee, a la Karl Anthony Towns. Well, his would have been hyperextended, probably, Karl Anthony Towns. But supposedly he was actually already hurt a little bit going into the Wolves game versus the Lakers back around Friday, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Friday night. Check out Timberwolves Explosion if you are interested. Another very significant injury. This one is probably season-ending and non-contact ACL type of thing, most likely, but pray to God, maybe not. DJ Wanham, non-contact, just like maybe slight contact, brushing each other, the two players, the linemen, but then all of a sudden it was just a non-contact thing with the knee, and just that was it. So just kind of like slid a little bit on the turf, and then adios amigo in that case. No pun intended there at all. Ifiato, that guy with Detroit had 2 sacks. Ifidu, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. The last name was even harder. Melifonwu, okay, 2 sacks for him. Pat Jones, though, 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. Quarterback hit, a pass deflection. How is that not Patrick Jones's best game? And how PFF, you listen to, like, say, Score North, Purple Daily and such, and they do PFF conversation on occasion, like the 3 best and the 3 worst on the offense and the defense. It's like Pat Jones has been kind of an ongoing gag. PFF just hates Pat Jones. He's always in the bottom 3. And it's like he doesn't do anything and he sucks and blah, blah, blah. Today, I think he might have been the best player on the entire defense. Maybe I'm crazy, but he's up there. Jordan Hicks, of course, returned from the strange condition. I already forgot what it's called. I had it tweeted out. I know I did, so maybe I can get going, see if there was any comment on that one. I mean, it was nice to have him. Nice to have him back. There it is. Come on. It was 6 weeks already. Jeez, that's a while. Compartment syndrome. That's what it is, where it's like a swelling to a point of really bad things could have happened. Like in super rare cases, the person dies. Crazy. Absolutely nuts. Where, it could be amputation, could be this, maybe bleed to death on the inside or something really weird and crazy. You also had situations with, what the heck? Like Teddy Bridgewater when he had that knee injury. Yeah, so it was like an emergency blood flow situation where it wouldn't have been life-threatening, but he would have lost his lower leg. So, basically, that would have been a disaster. It's just crazy how catastrophic things can happen. Whereas in Hicks's case, it was a bruise, but it was bubbling up, like the fluids were coming out like crazy, and it could have been a really dangerous situation. It was like weird. But he's out there playing as if nothing happened, so that's really cool. Had a very strong performance, and he's been good all year, has been Jordan Hicks. Did I call him Skip? I hope not. I think the Vikings had a guard named Skip Hicks years ago, if I remember correctly. But, yeah. Jordan Hicks, definitely a nice performance, pass deflection. Josh Mattel has led the team in overall tackles. Harrison Phillips had one of his better games, but I don't know. I mean, Patrick Jones, I thought he was good. Pat Jones the second, anyway. But generally speaking, it's the year of the turnover. It's the year of the injury. Kirk Cousins. It's like, should I just list off the notables here? Maybe all of them. I don't know. Kirk Cousins. What was it called again? No, I'm just kidding. Kirk Cousins had the Achilles tendon. Cam Akers, please give him the damn ball. Oh, never mind. Achilles tendon. Madison missed a week, but nobody was too sad. Even though he had a good game after that gosh darn fumble against Denver, he'd been significantly better, but then had a high ankle sprain, and so there's that. But A lot of people would have thought that Ty Chandler was better anyway. And Cam Akers, if not for the frickin' Achilles tendon. You saw, oh yeah, Justin Jefferson was out forever. Oh yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, what was it, like hamstring type of situation there? Oh, remember that? Yeah, Justin Jefferson too. He missed a significant amount of time, and everybody's like, oh, forget it. We're 1-4 anyway. The season's over. Just sit him out. Hell with it. And then unthinkable things happen. The Vikings start playing so much better. Kirk Cousins goes from a guy who would look like he's been starting to lose it and, erratic and all that. And then he was like one of the best quarterbacks in the world. And then all of a sudden, non-contact, and he's unable to walk all of a sudden. What just happened? Achilles. Yeah, I already talked about the Kirk Cousins injury. But now possibly DJ Wanham's out for the year. Akers out for, yeah. So it's just been the year of injuries. It really has. Hawkinson, we'll see. At the beginning of the year, there was that weird, what the heck do they call that? It's like the name of a movie even. I forgot the name of the darn thing. It always was the fear of heights before, and then it becomes something else, like some weird thing with the ear injury or ear ache, whatever. It was really strange. Ear infection, excuse me. And if that was real or fake, but it's crappy start to the year. And then historical numbers after that, after he shakes off the crappy start. And now we'll see if he's out for the year. So along with, again, DJ Wanham, which I mentioned, and Jordan Addison, hopefully he's going to be okay with that ankle. And, of course, again, Jordan Hicks, the other Jordan, with that compartment syndrome. I still don't understand. I guess it's like stuff filling up in a compartment in your leg. That's, I guess, what that means. Creating a compartment. I don't know. But I'm going to say I come out of this game not uber pissed off because, bleep the Lions, blankety blank, blank, blank. No, Nick Mullens was so bad. I'm just annoyed with him. And I'm kind of annoyed with, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I'm kind of, did you want to replace him with Jaron Hall? That's kind of where it's like, what the hell are you going to do? It was like the Minnesota Twins in the mid-'90s with some of the awful pitching staff, what was the guy's name? Rich Robertson. The guy couldn't even throw strikes, and he was somehow in the major leagues. Sid Hartman asked Tom Kelly before one of the games, with the Twins that year, hey, Tom, is there any way we could get somebody in there other than Rich Robertson? Do you want to replace him? And then TK said, well, who do you want me to replace him with, Sid? Because it was like nobody else. It was kind of a crappy situation. Robertson had to be one of the rotation pitchers. It was just that lousy of a situation for the Twins at the time. They were, Rich Robertson. He couldn't throw a strike for his life. It was disgusting. And it would be like Nick Mullens has that awesome fastball, and he struck the guy out. And the next thing you know, the ball's flying over the catcher or something, or it hits a guy, or it's a home run, in the third deck because he just, served up home runs, like right down the pipe. A nice high hanging ball, curveball, whatever, that's sent into the river somewhere, Mississippi River. It's hit so far. That's kind of what I feel like right now. It's like Josh Dobbs, disaster. He's going to throw he's going to hit the umpire or something, or he's going to hit a fan or something. Just pathetic. That's kind of the situation with the Vikings quarterbacks. So when you look past that, and unless you have a real reason to absolutely loathe the Detroit Lions, as annoying as they could be at times in the past, something about the Dan Campbell Lions, they're easy to root for some reason. So I'm not that pissed off about it at the end of the day in that sense. And, you come out thinking, what the hell? Congratulations, Detroit Lions. It's been 30 years. Jared Goff's a nice story considering, he went from a number 1 overall pick to a guy that gets traded to the worst team in the league. It took them it took them 2/3 of the year to win a game against us. At the time, was it 2 years ago? Dan Campbell looked like he was dead in the water because of that. And then all of a sudden the team started playing better. And then there's all this threat and all that stuff. They become a huge threat to run, to pass, everything. Very talented offense with a tight end for a head coach. And despite his kneecap comments at the beginning of his career there, he's been a really nice surprise. And I remember everybody's like, he'll be gone in like a year. Like he's crazy. He's like the craziest one. And then it's like, there was just that still small voice that said, you know what? Slow down. Pump the brakes on trashing this hire, because oftentimes the hire you look down on the most ends up being the good one. You get this highfalutin, exciting, I think I talked about this earlier in the season, but you get this exciting, offensive coordinator that just won the Super Bowl. Nudge, nudge. I can't imagine who that is. Now, I'm not ripping him necessarily, but in other cases, all these coordinators, the defensive coordinator for this Super Bowl team, the offensive coordinator for this Super Bowl caliber team, Brad Childress. And they come in and they're at best mediocre, or they're a flat out bust of a coach. Just a bust. Nathaniel Hackett, the genius of Green Bay's offense, ended up looking like a dimwit with Denver Broncos. Didn't even last a season. Like, that never happens where a guy's actually fired during the year. Guys get fired after a season sometimes, and that's because maybe the guy was just not really qualified to be a head coach. But then you get a surprise one like this, where, yes, he might be crazy, but give him a chance. Just give him a chance. And he ends up being the kind of guy that the Detroit Lions would run through a wall for. And, they've done a darn good job. If not for some fluky losses or just falling on their face in some games, Detroit could really be a threat to go somewhere. And if they do, good for them. They're going to actually host a playoff game for the first time since '94, apparently. And then they blew that game to the Packers, unfortunately. '93, they lost that game to the Packers, too. But, they won the division in '93. But the Packers were probably a little bit better team. It was two kind of meh teams going against each other. And then, of course, the Vikings couldn't beat the frickin', what do they call them, the frickin' Giants that year. Because we never beat the Giants in the playoffs. Except for '97 somehow, by like a miracle. Some crazy miracle in the Meadowlands, sequence of plays, that saved Dennis Green's job. Much to our chagrin, we might have had a better coach in '98. It's funny how history changes. Everybody acts like Dennis Green's a legend nowadays, where back then we couldn't wait to get him out of here. And I was one of them. And you know what? I'm still not apologizing for it, because I didn't like the way things ended here with Green. So, and I didn't like the way he was behaving leading up to, into '97 either. So anyhow, we'll keep going. Again, congratulations to the Detroit Lions. I hope they do something in the playoffs. I don't think they can beat the 49ers. They probably can't beat the Eagles, but maybe. Maybe they can beat the Eagles. San Francisco should represent the NFC in the Super Bowl and probably win it, but we'll see. We'll see. It's probably San Francisco's year, but you never know. So, it should be, in my opinion. As long as it's not Kansas City, that'd be great. So, I don't know. We're going to have two again, especially on Christmas Eve. I'm going to give out two Fran Tarkenton awards. Justin Jefferson, easy choice on the offensive side. But on the defensive side of the ball, a guy that had been basically kind of left for dead basically all season. A lot of us were like, he can't even play. There's no way he's even going to be on the Vikings next year. Pat Jones II is going to bring in his first Fran Tarkenton award this week. 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, a quarterback hit, and a pass deflection. How does he not get it? It was easily his best game of the year. And he could have had a strip sack to go along with it, too. So, an amazing run. Pat Jones, great game. Great game for Pat Jones II. Well-deserved Fran Tarkenton Award win for this Christmas Eve 2023. With that said, we'll take a quick break and preview the upcoming game and and all the other games that have been gone on so far this week. And we are back here on Purple Mafia segment number 2. Preview segment, of course, looking around the league and all that good stuff. And yes, previewing the Green Bay Packers border battle. Oh, it's so exciting. Clash with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, I knew it was the Packers. I just didn't know the exact time. Sunday night football. Sunday night football. Yeah, I'm just thrilled about that. You can tell, right? And yeah, I just love those. But, well, they're fun to watch. long as so that's the good news. But anyhow, Patriots lead 9-7 over the Denver Broncos. 9-7. I think I'm going to switch over to that NFL Network in my neck of the woods here. Yep. I mean, it's not like I can follow what I'm watching with Wonderful Life. It's cool and cute and everything, but let's have some football on. What the hell? Apologize here. I'm slowing down the Thursday night game. We had some weird games this week where teams that did well kind of recently didn't do well, and other teams are emerging out of nowhere. Like the Los Angeles Rams are suddenly very much in the playoff hunt, which I think spells D-E-A-T-H for the Vikings' chances. Teams like the Los Angeles Rams are now 8-7. The LA Rams 8-7. Matthew Stafford, a very strong performance, 328 yards, a couple TDs. Derek Carr, 3 touchdowns, but there's always that stupid interception. Saints were trailing the whole game, made a nice comeback in the fourth quarter, but couldn't finish. The comeback came up short type of deal. You know how that is. They just came up short. Chris Olave indeed, with 9 catches with 123 yards. Puka Nakua with as good a game as you're going to get. 9 catches, 164 yards. Justin Jefferson-like numbers. Touchdown for him. Yeah. Kind of taking the spotlight from Cooper Kupp. Only 6 catches for 52. But Kyren Williams as well. 104 yards on the ground. Almost 5 yards a carry. And a long of only 10. That just spells consistency. And a touchdown. Very consistent. And that's good. 2 sacks for the Rams. Only 1 sack for the Mullens Saints. And the Rams with a very, very important win for their season. Huge to get them to 8-7. They're ahead of us. We're 7-8. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's a certain person I know that I might be seeing tomorrow. Here it goes again. Neither would I. I can't even do this. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm going to hit the mute button because I always forget. Who's that big guy? Is that Nate Newton? I don't know. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Who do you think won the game? Team with this exciting quarterback suddenly out of nowhere. Great story. Great story. Mason Rudolph was just... Mason Rudolph? Like, who the heck is Mason Rudolph? He's like a third-string level quarterback. Maybe a backup. You know how that is. But Kenny Pickett, obviously couldn't stay healthy and all that good stuff. Cincinnati, the way the impressive way they came back and beat us last week. It's like, they're a better team than the Vikings, especially with Nick Mullens at quarterback. No matter how many yards Nick Mullens throws for, Jake Browning, we shouldn't have cut him. Well, after this game, makes you feel good about it actually for a couple seconds. Jake Browning threw for 335 yards, but he Nick Mullens the Cincinnati Bengals. 3 interceptions, only 1 touchdown. Quarterback rating of, QBR, of 27. Mason Rudolph, QBR of 79.1. 2 touchdowns and 290 yards. Mason Rudolph, the same guy. Yeah, that guy. Pittsburgh 34-11. Oh my God. Okay. So, yeah, playoff picture changes dramatically there. With the, over there in the AFC, at least with those division rivals. Well, they're not in the same division. Oh, yes, they are. Same division. Bad, terrible loss for the Cincinnati Bengals, but that's on them. Pittsburgh's a serious franchise. Cincinnati, they are when Joe Burrow's quarterback, and what was it? Chase isn't injured as well. So I don't know. It's just the year of injuries, man. It's depressing. Of course, McPherson only 1 kick, but he made it. 35 yards out. Cincinnati, definitely not what they were last week, and too bad we couldn't force Jake Browning into a bunch of INTs because Vikings would have won comfortably like Pittsburgh. Maybe not as big of a blowout, but they would have won comfortably. Depressing. T. Higgins, that son of a gun, 140 yards on only 5 catches, including an 80-yarder. Son of a gun, man. What can you say? Steelers with 3 sacks. Comfortable win. Let's keep going. Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo Bills, Buffalo this, Buffalo that. Man, weren't they like 500 or something at one point? Man, they're playing. They're really playing better. Los Angeles Chargers. Well, they didn't give up 70 points this week. They only gave up 24, but did not win the football game with their interim coach, Josh Allen. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not that great of a game. Easton Stick. All right, well, I don't know what to say. Mediocre game, generally speaking. No touchdowns or interceptions. Not a very particularly good game for the Chargers. Buffalo Bills took care of business, generally speaking, with 5 sacks, including 2 by Ed Oliver. Gabe Davis. Not Stephon Diggs with his 5 catches and 29 yards, no touchdowns. Gabe Davis, 4 catches, 130 yards with a touchdown with a 57-yard long. James Cook also 70 yards, kind of a smash mouth style, or what do they call it, sled dog. It wasn't that great, 3.5 yards a carry. Not quite Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson style, where you're just running through people like the other team just a minute ago here. Who the heck? Oh yeah, it was the LA Rams running back there. Very impressive performance by them. No doubt about it. Playoff picture again continuing to take a little shape here, and certain teams having surprising losses to other teams who, it's kind of been a back and forth at the Cleveland Browns all year, generally speaking. But, major injury and all that stuff. But Joe Flacco, he's certainly far from perfect. He could be a mess sometimes. But when he plays up to the Joe Flacco, like when he can be that tough Joe Flacco road warrior, take my team to the Super Bowl against all odds and win the Super Bowl against probably a better team outside of Ray Lewis, whatever, being a superstar, but a crazy lunatic. Who knows how many, drugs he took before that playoff run with that metal arm or whatever back in 2012. Joe Flacco, though, 368 yards. Are you kidding me? Yep. He had the interceptions, 2 of them, but he had 3 touchdowns to go with it. 368 yards. Joe Flacco. I mean, the last few years, him in Denver, the New York Jets, it was like a dead man walking. But Cleveland absolutely has weapons on this football team, and they are more than overachieving. They are absolutely a success story this year. It also helps Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco connecting for unbelievable numbers against the Houston Texans. And again, this is a pivotal, huge win for the Cleveland Browns. Houston wins this game. They go to 9-6 and have a tiebreaker versus the Browns. You realize that? Instead, Houston drops to 8-7. Cleveland Browns jump to 10-5. Cleveland Browns this year, as disappointing as they started, and the quarterback getting hurt and all that, regardless of the guy. I don't think the guy can stay healthy. They shouldn't have given him all that money, but that's on the Browns management there. Somehow they pick up Joe Flacco off the NFL scrap heap, and wow, he's pretty good. Man, I would take Joe Flacco as quarterback of the Vikings 3 weeks ago, man. Vikings would probably be in a very different place right now. Not even kidding. We probably would have beaten Detroit. We probably would have beaten Cincinnati. We probably would have beaten, what was the other one? The frickin' Bears. We probably would have. I would think so. It's funny, man. It's really funny how things can change so quickly. Amari Cooper, 11 catches, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson picked that up maybe and looked at that and said, that could have been me. Could have been. Maybe. But I got to think Flacco and Justin Jefferson would have connected. Joe Flacco, I mean, it's like he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And he won playoff games on the road. He might not have been the best player on the team, but he's still the quarterback, the most important position in football. And he got it done for Baltimore on multiple occasions. He won a lot of playoff games for the Baltimore Ravens leading up to that 2012 Super Bowl. In 2008, remember, winning 2 road games to get to the AFC Championship game. That's impressive, no matter how you look at it. What was it, his second year in the league? Insanely impressive. And then they ran into the steel curtain, literally. And unfortunately, because who wanted Pittsburgh to beat Baltimore? Not me. And I sure as bleep wouldn't want Pittsburgh to beat the Cleveland Browns or, say, Kansas City when Cleveland looked very promising. But Kansas City beat them. I remember that. It was a very frustrating division round game. Heartbreaking, honestly, a couple of years back. Luckily, Cincinnati took care of those SOBs. Oh, I was so happy. Wish they could have done it again, frankly. Anyhow, a impressive win for the Cleveland Browns, 36-22 over the Texans. Washington versus the Jets, a garbage bowl. Garbage bowl champion, New York Jets. Okay, where the heck did it go? Well, they won the game. They're 6-9. They somehow have 6 wins on the year. Washington Commanders 4-11. 4-11. Starting the season, if you figured, like say, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, right? And one of these two teams is going to be 6-9, which is not real good, but kind of and the other team's 4-11, which is putrid. You would have probably flip-flopped these two teams. But who cares? It doesn't mean anything. Neither team's going anywhere. Trevor Siemian leading the Jets to another win, which is funny. Yeah, well, not another win, but a win. His first win with them. Jacoby Brissett, very respectable. Sam Howell, not. 6 of 22 with 2 interceptions. QBR, 1.7. Quarterback rating, 1.7. You don't really get worse than what Sam Howell did. Against a pretty good Jets defense. Yet the Washington Redskins still managed, Commanders, for now, until they become the Redskins again, according to certain Native American groups that want that. Washington's rushing attack got the job done. Well, kept them in the game, is what I'm trying to say. 3 rushing touchdowns at the end of the day, but they probably should have stuck to that more than they did. They did have to throw the ball quite a bit, though, to kind of get caught up, and they made things interesting. But the Jets ended up finishing things off after taking a huge lead. So that type of thing. Washington was in comeback mode. Breece Hall with 2 touchdowns running, almost 5 yards a carry. Breece Hall, 12 catches also to go with 96 yards. So he's got this Christian McCaffrey, Debu Samuel thing going for the New York Jets. Good for him. At the end of the day, Trevor Siemian, that quarterback. Gosh, I'd probably take him over. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. 49 attempts. What the heck is that? You know, you were up by how many points? Why are you throwing the ball so much? Jets, why are you throwing the ball? I don't know, but the Jets won. Who cares? Crappy game, crappy teams, crappy everything. See, but enough about Seattle and Tennessee. Well, Seattle's 8-7. They have a better record than us, so who am I to talk trash to them? 5-10. Tennessee loses another one, 20-17 victory for the Seattle Seahawks. Not an impressive game, but at least one road game. No interceptions for Geno Smith. Not spectacular numbers, but decent. Derrick Henry threw a 12-yard touchdown pass on a trick play. Tannehill did not turn the ball over in the air at the very least, but generally speaking, Tennessee did not get the job done. So there's that. 3 sacks by Tennessee, 6 by Seattle. Wow. Legion of Boom is back, huh? Maybe. Boy Muffy with a couple of sacks for Seattle in particular. A close, low-scoring, smash-mouth kind of a game, and Seattle emerges victorious, bottom line. Good for them. Atlanta and Indianapolis, 2 weird football teams here. What is up with the Colts? They don't make any sense. You know, you just had a very impressive win last week. You're jumping up and down in front of the camera, Gardner Minshew, and you followed up with this crap? 10 points in Atlanta? Who the heck are the Atlanta Falcons? Josh Dobbs, they made Josh Dobbs look like Michael Vick in his prime. Or like whoever, you know, Steve Young in his prime. Josh Allen, at his absolute best and his MVP best. That's what he looked like. That's what Josh Dobbs looked like versus Atlanta. Spectacular. 10 points, Gardner Minshew, 10 points. 10 points. Taylor Heineke, the same guy that was quarterback of Atlanta versus the Vikings in that week. Well, 23 of 33, a touchdown, no interceptions. Good for him. I don't know what to say here, other than Atlanta's defense was freaking awesome. 2 sacks by Zach Harrison, 1.5 by Calais Campbell. 6 total sacks there. And keeping them down to only 10 points, the Colts. Talented team, but, well, not really. It's like everybody's hurt. Jonathan Taylor is making $1 billion, and he averages 2.4 a carry in the game. Freaking terrible. 6 sacks on Gardner Minshew. And Falcons win comfortably 29-10. And they have the same record as the Vikings. But we own the tiebreaker because we beat them head-to-head. It's just kind of funny when you think about that. It's kind of sad and pathetic, actually. But that's on you, Indianapolis. It really is. So what more can I say about it? That's on you, Indianapolis. I mean, that's a crappy loss. 8-7, so kind of, it's messing around with the playoff bracket for them at the moment. Just a really poopy loss. Packers came back. They didn't come back. They finished the job after taking a sizable lead over the Panthers. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Jaguars and Bucks, Cardinals and Bears. Man, the Bears are weird too. Oof, how many more games are left? Oh my God, nope, those are up and coming. Christmas Day, Raiders at Chiefs, Giants at Eagles, So that's a noon, and then a 3:30, and then a Monday Night Football, 49ers and Ravens. It's a full slate for Christmas Day. So the NBA has a little competition tomorrow. Where are you, hockey? Come on, hockey. Come on, Brave the Wild, right? The 49ers host the Ravens. I mean, that is about as epic as it gets on Monday Night Football. The best team in the AFC versus the best team in the NFC. And very oftentimes, the future Super Bowl for the season ends up playing at some point during the regular season. Like the Giants and the Patriots played, I think it was the final week of the season, if I remember correctly, the regular season before that crazy thing where Patriots did end up beating the Giants, but the Giants put up a fight like you wouldn't believe. Almost denied the Patriots a perfect regular season, but then ultimately denied the Patriots' chance of a perfect season in general in the Super Bowl. It's pretty wild, actually, and crazy. 49ers and Ravens, we might have a rematch of the Harbaugh Bowl, and believe me, I'm on what Jim Harbaugh's side was. As you know, I like the Ravens, I respect them, but go Niners. You know, that'll be cool to see. Niners got to take that one. Okay, bouncing everywhere here, and I'm slowing everything down. Jaguars and Buccaneers. Gosh, Buccaneers are absolutely killing the Jaguars in this game. Yeah, it's that Florida, not known as Miami. That's basically, yeah, the two Florida teams that are not the Miami Dolphins. Basically, Tampa Bay took a 20-0 lead, so on and so forth, and it just kept building and building. But and then the Jaguars finally got a couple of points as the game progressed. 30-12 game. Trevor Lawrence was in some kind of concussion protocol, but was cleared to play and threw 2 interceptions. And the former Niner, C.J. Beathard, actually was decent with a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, no interceptions and 2 touchdowns. He's having a nice year, isn't he? And the Bucks, 8-7, still hanging on at a possible playoff berth. And well, they're ahead of us. Everybody's ahead of us. I think the Vikings will not make the playoffs. Prediction: Vikings don't make the playoffs. Why even talk about it anymore? Especially if Trent Dilfer on crack is our quarterback. I'm not even going to call him Favre on crack. He's Trent Dilfer on crack. Like how Dilfer was out of control also. But yeah, but he ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Ravens because he got calmed down by that stage of his career. Mullens never calmed down. I don't think he ever will. Doubt it. Okay, Cowboys and Dolphins, very happy with the result there. You can only imagine. Because I like the Dolphins, dang it. 11-4. They're like the Detroit Lions of the... they are. They're kind of like the Detroit Lions of the AFC. A team that had been struggling for a long, long time. A little bit richer history than Detroit in the Super Bowl era. But not so super richer, but definitely richer. Cowboys dropped to 10-5. Dolphins are 11-4. 11-4. 7-1 at home. Cowboys 3-5 on the road. That's definitely been their Achilles heel this year. So that makes them perfect. 7-0 at home are the Dallas Cowboys. But the chances of them hosting a playoff game very slim, so they'll probably be out in the wild card round, most likely, barring some kind of crazy surprise. Tua with a touchdown completion and all that. But, just under 300 yards. Dak with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was a good football game, but low scoring, 22-20. Dolphins get the job done versus a very good Cowboy team. Tyreek Hill returns from whatever the heck is going on with him. I don't know. 9 catches and 99 yards. CeeDee Lamb with 118 yards and 6 catches. Generally speaking, Miami defense. Yep. Andrew Van Ginkel rolls right off your tongue. Sack and a half. Bradley Chubb, rolls right off your tongue as well. Sack and a half. Congratulations, Miami Dolphins, who are rolling in a good way. Rolling like a river. 11-4. Congratulations. Big win for the Miami Dolphins. Huge franchise win for the Dolphins there. And they did clinch a playoff berth. The Dolphins are in. I remember a few years ago they made it, and it was like a joke. They lost like 100-0, basically. Yeah, it was weird. Or they were in the running, and then they got whooped by a crappy Viking team when Stefanski took over. That's Vince Germano's favorite coach ever. No, he doesn't like it, but hey, I think Cleveland's overachieving this year, so give him some credit. Now we're at the divisional round, of course, when it comes to our previews and reviews and stuff. The Chicago Bears, well, they're not getting any number 1 pick this year. They dropped the Cardinals 27-16 in a meh bowl. The Bears are closer to us now than Detroit. Detroit, forget about it. Detroit, they've already clinched the division. Justin Fields with a touchdown and an INT. Kyler Murray, significantly better. Well, not really. He only completed 50% of his passes, but no interceptions to go along with 2 touchdowns. Good for him. Cole Kmet with 4 catches and 104 yards for the Bears. Only 2 sacks for the Bears. Did Montez Sweat get one of them? No. But the Bears win fairly comfortably over Arizona, taking a nice lead, 21-7 at the half, and kind of finishing things off down the stretch. The Bears win relatively comfortably in Soldier Field over the Cardinals. And next week's opponent is the Green Bay Packers. And they almost lost to a team that has, one win this year? This thing ever loads? Yeah, it did. Nope, Panthers have 2 wins. I forgot. They finally won a second game not too long ago. 2-13 on the year of the Panthers. The Packers are 7-8, so they're parallel with us. We do have a win against them earlier in the season, so here it is. Here we go. Winning in. No, there's no winning in. We're dead. Wouldn't be surprised if the Packers beat us, actually, especially on Monday Night Football. I'm not overconfident about the Vikings and the Packers on Monday Night Football, really quite at all. Jordan Love has definitely been better. The last time we played Jordan Love, he looked like dog dookie, and yeah, it was very, very unimpressive, uninspiring, to say the least. Why am I clicking on this? Sorry, I apologize. I'm like hitting the wrong thing here. But Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns, 219 yards, no interceptions, quarterback rating of 109. That's not bad. But then Bryce Young, quarterback rating of 110, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, 312 yards. A way, way better game for Bryce Young. He's obviously off to a slow start to his career, so to speak. This one will be in U.S. Bank Stadium. The Vikings did get the job done in Green Bay. But the Vikings have lost games at home this year that were very disappointing, like to the Bears. It was just pathetic, just sick and disgusting. So I don't care where this game is. And with the way this team, at least whoever the quarterback is, he's probably going to have 3 or 4 turnovers in the game. Whoever it is, if Josh Dobbs gets to go back in, maybe Jaron Hall gets rattled by the great Green Bay defense that gave Bryce Young 30 points today. Even if it was on the road, I don't care. That's still a lot for a crappy Carolina team. Even though Bryce Young has talent, it's just he's been a pretty slow starter this season to his career. Green Bay built a very sizable lead and ended up, squeaking things out with a kick at the end to wrap it up after Carolina tied it up at 30 in impressive fashion. Very good game by Bryce Young, but still, I don't know. Green Bay should have been better than that, I think. Carolina should have been better than that, and Green Bay should have been better too, you could say. Carolina shouldn't have fallen out behind so much, and of course, it is what it is. Green Bay with a miraculous finish to wrap things up and win the game. 21 carries and 127 yards. 6 yards a carry. That's Tecmo Bowl at his best right there by Aaron Jones. Romeo with 4 catches, 79 yards and a touchdown. DJ Chark, not Clark, but Chark, with 6 catches, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Carolina Hurricanes. But Green Bay ended up victorious in this one. I just don't have a whole lot of confidence, even if this is in U.S. Bank Stadium, because the Vikings have been dog bleep all season. Well, not all season. No, they haven't. But the Nick Mullens era, which hopefully is at most 2 weeks remaining. And I'm dead serious when I say that. It's sad because the skill is there, but he is just a bleeping mess. He is a mess of epic proportions. That's all I got to say about that. He just can't. He can't be quarterback. Sorry, it just can't happen. Otherwise, we're idiots. 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions by Jordan Love, 3,368 yards, an average of 6.9 yards per play, or per pass, whatever the heck. Yeah, whatever it is. Quarterback rating is 90.8. In the past, he wouldn't be in the Pro Bowl, I don't think, but he'd be close to it. Decent numbers. Like nowadays, you look at the 11 interceptions to go along with the 25 TDs, and you think, he's okay. Just kind of run it like above average. But above average for Jordan Love was unthinkable earlier this year, so give him some credit there. The Green Bay defense is, mediocre at best. I mean, the Vikings should be able to do something versus this team. 6.5 sacks by Kenny Clark. Preston Smith, 5.5. Zadarius Smith is obviously long gone. Remember, he was a huge threat years ago. I think he's on Cleveland now, right? Yep, after being on the Vikings for a year and oft injured, but when healthy, the guy's a killer, big time, but he's also kind of weirdo. I don't know, like probably, like a shelf life kind of guy, like Sam Cassell in the NBA. Like, for a little while, it's like he's the coolest thing ever, and then, like, as the year progresses, it's like, this guy's a jackass. Go away. I hate him. Kind of like people at work. No dirty laundry being aired there at all. None at all. Just none. A.J. Dillon has been the main running back because Aaron Jones has missed a lot of time, but he had a great game today. Vikings' run defense has been up and down all season. And I didn't even talk about the stupid like penalty and the situation the Vikings ran into today, which was insanely frustrating. It's stuff like that kind of puts you in a feeling like Vikings aren't going to beat the Packers next week. Jordan Love's been so much better, and any type of halfway decent quarterback against the Vikings this year, and they've beaten us, except for when we were in that awesome run with Kirk Cousins later in the season before the injury. It seemed like that time we could beat anybody we wanted. But generally speaking, good quarterbacks against the Vikings, even though the defense is supposedly the best thing in the history of the world, with Brian Flores, they've been disappointing when you need them the most. And I don't know, it's extremely frustrating at the end of the day. Excuse me. Now, who was that guy again? Because when I saw his name, I'm like, oh yeah. So I apologize about the choke here. The player's name was Jalen Williams, by the way. Yeah, I mean, he got like an illegal hands to the face penalty when the Vikings had stopped the Detroit Lions, put them into fourth down. He gets illegal hands to the face, and then Detroit gets a first down. That was a huge, crucial mistake, a rookie mistake. First game in the NFL coming up from the practice squad, so that was another thing. And if that's where we are because of injury after injury after injury, and Louis Steen being the biggest bust since, I don't even know who, biggest bust since, what was that guy's name? Erasmus James, probably even bigger bust than him, but way up there. Davenport can't stay healthy for his life. DJ Wonnum, they're calling him questionable. Hopefully that's it. Wouldn't that be nice? But it's probably just questionable for now. But maybe he will be okay. Maybe it's just a hyperextended, but I don't know, some scary stuff. He was carted off right away, so it's like probably because they figure it's not worth it. Don't even mess with it. He's not going to play anymore today, and get pressure off of that darn knee as soon as possible. Interesting, though, they're showing questionable. So that's better than I suppose it could have been. Injury update. This is like a long time ago, though. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. Injury is an ankle for Addison. Blackman's injury may not be particularly serious. Yeah, he was the other guy who was out as well. I do believe so, when asked if some of the injuries were serious. Can't confirm any of those, but with 2 weeks left to go, we've got some really tough guys. We've got some guys that are all trying to battle their way in there, but I do believe so. So, if that's the update, that ain't much of one. But, yeah, he believes there's some serious injuries. So, I'm guessing Hawkinson doesn't play anymore this year. It's not like something he'd be out for the year, but just that's it. Hell with it. Addison, I don't know. And then Wonnum, very unlikely will play. That's my guess. That'd just be my, just guessing on that one. Byron Murphy was out as well. And then Blackman, again, I guess they're saying he's questionable, so it's not as serious. I'm surprised to see just a Q next to Wonnum. And I remember James Lynch was out for the year with an ACL a long time ago. Dean Lowry, also similar situation over the year. Very disappointing when that happened. Very sad, actually. It's not a joke. Kirk Cousins IR. Josh Dobbs out. Okay, yeah, he was just inactive. I don't think he was injured. Naylor had a concussion. That was earlier in the year. Yeah, it sucks. Oh, yeah, and Ole Udo had an ACL. I remember that. And O'Neal didn't play today. Quisenberry was in there. So just too many injuries. O'Neal, just another, situation there. Hopefully he's going to be okay. I believe it was a calf injury. So, yeah. Which calf injuries could be like Achilles again. So hopefully it's nothing crazy like that. Anyhow, I think Green Bay's probably going to beat the Vikings. I'm just prolonging this and delaying the inevitable. As you can tell, Green Bay's going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, kind of like today. Kind of a back and forth battle. But the Vikings do not win the game. I think you're going to see more turnovers. You're going to see a mess. You're going to see similar frustrations that we've been seeing all season. And Jordan Love is just a better quarterback now. I don't think he's Hall of Fame trajectory like the other guys were when it came to, Favre and Rodgers. But probably a multi-time Pro Bowler at the very least, which isn't like, an end-all superstar. He's not going to be an all-pro, I don't think. But he'll make some Pro Bowls because he's good enough to make Pro Bowls at the very least. Like be an upper echelon quarterback in the league. In Jordan Love's case, from what we can see. He's not going to be a massive bust like initially thought, him being Jordan Love. The Green Bay Packers will beat the Vikings by a final score of 27-24, a close battle, but the Vikings drop to 7-9, and adios amigo. Detroit probably finishes off at 7-10. I don't think we win another game this year, bottom line. I don't think there's any reason to believe we will. It was a nice dream. It felt so good, so promising. But I don't know. It's almost at a point now. Even if we win one of these two games, it's like, oh well, yay, we're going to be like 8-9. Wonderful. That's great. But I don't think the Vikings win both and finish 9-8. If we do, good for us. But if you're comfortable and confident with Nick Mullens at quarterback going into a wild card round, sure. That's all I got to say to you. That's about it. With that said, we'll take a quick break and come back for some fan interaction, and we're going to hear a call from Mad Martin telling us Merry Christmas.
Greetings, seasonal greetings, Joey, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody that listens to the podcast also. I hope you get your Christmas wishes. As to the Vikings, I guess depending on whatever side of the fence you're sitting on at the moment, with the team currently at 507-7, you get whatever you hope from that game Sunday. So, here we are, 500. So many times in the past we've been in that position. Here's a little food for thought. So the team is 500. The team went with Cousins 4-4, and with the backups we're 3-3. So you've got the perfect mix, haven't you? Isn't that poetic? 500. I think my expectations at the start of the season were pretty realistic. And I think anybody that is a realist would have probably felt, well, they'll probably come back to the norm that they are over the last decade, which is in the 500 region. So 8-9, 9-8 felt realistic, and they might sneak into the playoffs and win, or, well, probably actually lose a playoff game in a tightly contested game. So, where are we? What do we do? Now, I've been reading, and it's quite interesting. With so many teams stuck in this sort of sub 500 or 500 or just above 500, there is an opportunity for our purple to lose out in competitive, perhaps one-score losses, which would be perfect in the symmetry of what is going on. So, at the moment, we're kind of sitting in sort of 21, 22 draft position, which is not great if you want to solve that riddle at the quarterback position. Now, you've got a team like the Raiders that's sitting at 6 and 8, and they're currently sitting at number 10. So, if we lost out and results went our way for those that would like us to be drafting higher, we could end up in the top 10. And I think there is a strong argument for hoping that we do that. Yes, it's nice to get into the postseason, but do you really think there is any chance that we would go deep in the playoffs? Because I really don't. And I really want this quarterback riddle solved. Because when you look at this team, if you look back at what this team has achieved, it's really had only one franchise quarterback, and that is old Sir Francis, who did so much in the 70s. You had Tommy Kramer for a long, long time. I don't think you can describe him as a franchise quarterback. Possibly Dante Culpepper. Sadly, that knee blew out, and that was, yet again, another what if. What if that knee hadn't gone? Would he have brought us a Super Bowl in the 21st century? And since then, it has been pretty dire. I suppose, okay, you could say old man Favre brought us a lot of pleasure in 2009 and gave us a taste of what it's like to have that franchise quarterback for one glorious season. And since then, yes, they attempted a risk with Ponder. I believe Spielman went down to Florida, watched Ponder play a career game, typically, fell in love with this guy and drafted him. And the rest, as they say, is history. And since then, it has really been journeyman quarterbacks. Yes, okay, we took this gamble on Cousins, but he's not achieved anything than one playoff win, and in essence, pretty much been a 500 quarterback, which is quite depressing. Now, I take a lot of criticism because I just go on about the quarterback position over and over again. But I'm sorry. Yes, it is a team sport, as I've been told many times. It's a team sport. Well, no shit, I know it's a team sport. But there is one position that is so important to any team's hopes of being competitive year after year. And we know it's the quarterback position. It makes up, that guy, if he's really good, can make up or take on so many things that the team might be deficient in and cover them. Yeah, sure, you might have a great wide receiver, you might have a great defense, but if you haven't got a legitimate quarterback to go with that, your chances of winning a Super Bowl are greatly reduced. And, you know, what's sad is that this team has been so good in the past, even without a legitimate quarterback. You know, the 70s, 80s, 90s, the team was so competitive. And since we bounced into the 21st century, it has been slim pickings. So as far as I'm concerned, the priority going forward is to solve the riddle at the quarterback position, because you have some pretty solid foundations here. If you can get JJ signed, Hunter signed, Derishaw signed, you're massively improving your O-line. If you find a few pieces on defence, you have got an exciting team going forward, other than at the QB position, as always. Now, I've also read that some websites have predicted that Cousins will take a team-friendly $60 million deal over 2 years. Which, if he did, great, because you've solved the bridge problem. Why you can attempt to move up in the draft and nab one of these young studs that hopefully can develop into the future of this team. Because with that, you then solve so many issues for the next decade, and you're going to be competitive, which will be so exciting, rather than this one season we scrape into the playoffs, one season we don't, which we've had to kind of contend with now for so long. But I think, as I said, I am an evidence guy. So I go on what's in front of me, what I've seen. And what I've seen from Cousins over the years and his agent is a player and an agent who are going to maximise what they can get And hell, I don't blame him. Why wouldn't you? You know, let's face it, we all work. So if you can get top dollar for what you do, then why not? And good for him. But if he's going to be pushing for significantly more than that, I don't believe you can do it. And of course, the other issue is there are plenty of quarterback needy teams out there. There is a real lack of quality quarterbacks. So I think he will command 45 million plus, and I think someone will pay it. I just hope it's not us, because what you do is then you kick the can of success down the road even further. Because how do you hold on to some of these key players who are in their prime when, as we've seen, this is a team that can muddle along at 500 with a backup instead of paying huge amounts of money for a quarterback that is a 500 specialist. So, and it's not just that, he's coming back off an Achilles as well. Now, the Achilles and the legs produce a lot of energy that help your arm throw. So if he can't push off on that leg like he's done over so many years, that's going to affect his passing. Now, do you want to pay 45 million for that? Because I certainly don't. And I think that is a massive gamble if you go down that path. Anyway, on to Saturday night. As I said to you in one of the tweets, I didn't have the opportunity, or I didn't think I'd have the opportunity to catch the game Saturday because I was in a fairly remote part of Scotland. But I did find a signal, and I eventually started watching the first half, and it was like, holy, we're 17-3 up, which was like, well, this defence isn't going to let them back in. But being the purple, I should have known better. The Mullens stat is, I think, somewhere is very similar to touchdowns to interceptions ratio, and he didn't disappoint, did he? The fact that the guy can pass a crisp ball, but then he throws in a hand grenade and blows the whole thing up, which is what he did Saturday night. Yes, you can criticise the defence in the fourth quarter. I did read a stat somewhere that quarters 1 to 3, I think in the last 4 or 5 games, we're letting in 4 points. And in the fourth quarter, we're letting something just over 10 points. So that's something certainly that Flores needs to fix, because perhaps he's turning a little bit too conservative towards the end of the game. But I saw enough of Mullens to say, forget it. And I get he'll probably start next week because we're still in the playoff hunt. And the whole NFC is doing its damnedest to keep us in there with the losses. And we're still seeded 6. So I guess he'll start. I would like to see Hall in there. I'd like to see what the kid's got. We've got 3 games. It would be great to see if he's got anything. And if he has, then why not? He could then potentially be the starter next year while we do look at drafting another quarterback in the carousel and see where we go. Anyway, let's be fair. The defence can't constantly bail out what is considered a fairly powerful offence. So a lot of this loss was on Mullens. The 2 interceptions in the red zone, you're looking minimum 6 points lost to 14 points, which would have probably secured the game in the first half. But hey-ho, it is what it is, isn't it? I shall say a fond farewell. Merry Christmas, everybody. Skål, brothers and sisters. And my goodness, I'm at 11 and a half minutes. Right, I don't know if you want to use this, Joey, but have a fantastic time.
And there it is, the biggest call ever on Purple Mafia to date, almost 12 minutes. That was outstanding, though, because it was Mad Martin and very well thought out, and that was great. So, of course, I want to use it. That was one of the last words he said. Is like, I don't know if you want to use this, Joey, but, oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, see, it's like, obviously, you had the floor. You had the floor, and you spoke a lot of what is on our mind in a lot of ways and added some great insight. And, yeah, I mean, a frustration that I think is very well deserved among Viking fans that know what they're talking about when it comes to just this whole win now, stay competitive, win now, stay competitive bull crap isn't getting us anywhere. It's the same exact problem with the Minnesota Wild. The same problem with the Wild. See, the Wolves languished in frustration forever, but eventually got top heavy with some really nice picks, like Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards especially. It's okay to have the number one pick in the draft. It doesn't mean you're just a garbage franchise that's going to suck forever. So, and then, I remember being made fun of for that comment years ago, like, you're grasping for straws, and it's like, no, I'm not. Yes, you can make mistakes, but I'd rather have that chance rather than just be stuck in mediocrity forever, where you're going to be like a 9-8 or type of team. Last year was a phenomenon that never happens, and then we paid for it right away in the first round. We didn't even get out of the first round of the postseason. It was a joke. It was like we paid the piper right away. Like, that was definitely something where we were going to have to pay the piper at some point. But I mean, the wild card round? How about just that one magical year where we win it all and then pay the piper? Like the LA Rams, they had to pay the piper, and then now they're back to being a fairly competitive team, and we'll see what happens in the next year or two. So yeah, that's a huge frustration, and why not put in Jaron Hall? Especially now, I guarantee, because like you said, Nick Mullens, it's like a hand grenade, It's like 1 minute he makes a great play, and then the next minute he's like throwing a hand grenade and blowing everything up. So yes, my thoughts exactly, and that was an outstanding call, and keep calling in forever. You have the green light. It's an open invitation to every single episode in Purple Mafia history, and I'll probably be doing this show, I don't know, there's a good chance I could be doing this show the rest of my life, unless one day I just don't feel like it anymore. But certain shows, yeah, video game flashback, freedom of thought, yeah, I'll be doing those the rest of my life, most likely. Can't imagine any contractual situation to prevent me from doing the show, doing shows in the future. So we'll see what happens, like the distant future, not just the not too distant future. But sorry about that. That was an awesome call-in. So we're going to hear more from Mad Martin on Twitter, or X, or whatever it is. It still says Twitter, though, when you look it up. Twitter.com/Purple Mafia Show. So it's Twitter, X Twitter, whatever the heck it is, space X, Purple Mafia Show. And then the Instagram account is also just simply Purple Mafia Show. I didn't have to put any underscores or anything like that. So we'll get to the Instagram next. First is going to be the Twitter. I was talking about the whole activating Hicks. So that was a good thing. Was there any reply on that? There were replies in the recent episode. I need to look at that more often. So I think they show up in the notifications. But still, yeah, I better check these out. Ooh, there's a major one there that's actually very interesting. Mad Martin says, again, lots of blame to go around. So as you can see, again, it's Mad Martin, Dave Martin out of Northern Scotland. So as you can see, there's a pattern to the Flores D in fourth quarters. Will be interesting to see if he can solve the problem. Catching the podcast this morning, I would say in defense of Flores, this D has way overachieved this season, especially considering how inconsistent they've always been at times. Yeah, and putting them in horrible situations. I think I read this backwards in terms of chronologically, so I apologize, but here we go. These are another one of Mad Martin's Neato Stat of the Night, you can say. Mad Martin's Neato Stat of the Night. That could be an interesting little name. I'll have to probably have a different name because that would be, was it Johnson on TNT. Maybe if you think of a name, Dave Martin, Mad Martin, that you'd like to call the, like when you come up with a stat, yeah, let me know. Here's the stat, 2023, quarters 1 through 3, sixth. Now this again, now talking about fourth quarter D Flores EPA play ranking since 2019. Now I'm debating, should I start with 19 or should I go up to 2023? Well, he put 2023 first, so we'll go there. In 2023, quarters 1 through 3, he's ranked 6th. In the fourth quarter and overtime, he's ranked 16th. This would be Flores' defense. 2021, quarters 1 through 3, 5th. Outstanding, right? Fourth quarter and OT, 18th. 2020, quarters 1 through 3, 6th. So it's like you're noticing a pattern here. Pretty crazy. Fourth quarter and OT, 11th. Now, is this for real? This is interesting. 2019, quarters 1 through 3, 31st. Fourth quarter and OT, 32nd. Interesting number at the bottom there. But yeah, further and further proof. Fourth quarter for Brian Flores has not been too good. Nope, that's basically the bottom line here. The fourth quarter defense has not been good. And yeah, we've seen them be a sieve, as they call that, in the fourth quarter. That's a hockey term when the goalie just gives up goals easily. A sieve, it's just goes through right nice and easily. It's bad news. Want to thank, let's see, who retweeted the most recent episode. Tanae Brown out of New Zealand, Vince Germano out of Australia, and Malcolm McSween out of Southern California. Thank you so much, Malcolm McSween and Vince and Tanae. Gerald's Ring liked it. Okay, now here we go. Catch on the podcast. Yep, so we already talked about these. Yep, okay, the stats are there and everything. Cool. Yep, and he says, so as you can see, there is a pattern to the Flores defense in fourth quarters. It will be interesting to see if you can solve the problem. Yep, so far, I'd say no. Let me go back to that game. Well, but that was more numbers and everything. It's not just the points, but still. Yeah, when it comes to like today's game anyway. But yeah, the numbers were not particularly good either. But Nick Mullens' interception certainly hurt. Like you said, plenty of blame to go around, and that was last week, and you can say the same against this week. But Mullens was awful. Yeah, I mean, Detroit was better than Minnesota, 7-3 in the fourth quarter, bottom line. So that still counts for something. That's partially on the crappy offense. Mad Martin, here we go. Just another way to get people to spend money. I was talking about how I was saying, where'd it go? Call me negative. Last year's Christmas Eve whiteout had a way better vibe all around, including outside, meaning like the weather. It was beautiful. This year it just feels dreary outside in the way the Lions plowed through us and not good. Yep. Mad Martin says, just another way to get people to spend money. I will keep to purple. And I was saying that's exactly what it is, all the money. Yep. And I was saying I would tell them to bleep off, basically. And Mad Martin was saying I would say the same. I was saying I'm in the minority, that I'm in the vast minority. I missed the snow. It was beautiful last year, and it was a very light snow, even though it was several inches deep. It was cold enough that it wasn't difficult to deal with. And Mad Martin says, I miss snow. Yeah, I like snow. I do. I'm one of the few, as long as it's not too much and too dirty. Yeah, Mad Martin was saying we got away with one there. Yeah, Nick Mullens didn't even throw the ball. Don't even throw the ball. Yeah, that would have been an interception, but luckily the ball wasn't caught by the defender in that case. It was like a miracle. It really was. Yep, Mad Martin says another stick of TNT from Mullens. No surprise, you can only call this season the year of the, you can only call this season the year of the turnover. Yep, and I was saying it feels like sabotage. Mad Martin was saying, you only have to look at his stats and see it's no surprise. He's a gunslinger and not very good at it. Get Hall in and see what he's got. Nothing to lose at this point. And yeah, I mean, those are similar to the thoughts you said in the call-in. Yeah, I mean, why not? And it's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. Mad Martin again says Mullens is going to give the game away, give the ball to Ty Chandler. And funny, right when we said that, Ty Chandler got in the end zone. And it's like, well, there it is. And it's an absolute fact. So, yeah. It really is. Why isn't it showing the replies? That's kind of weird. So weird. Unless the person deleted the reply. I don't know why. But Mad Martin again, almost 1/6 of the league. 1/6 of the league is starting a current/former Vikings backup this weekend. The league is bad at the quarterback position. Oh yes, it is. Yep, facts. Isn't that just the darndest thing you ever heard? I was like, it's a disaster. It's the year of the turnover and definitely the year of injuries. And yeah, there's injuries everywhere. Like, Joe Flacco and such, the year of the backup quarterback. You never know. One of those guys might win a Super Bowl. And Brock Purdy was an emergency injury replacement when Jimmy Garoppolo had one of his 99 injuries in his career last year. And Brock Purdy stuck after that. Mad Martin says that's the problem. He gives you a good series of passes followed by the stick of TNT to blow it up. That would again be Nick Mullens. Yeah, because there's something there. I was calling him again Brett Favre on crack. Yep. Because he'd have these great moments like the Jefferson touchdown. We are running out of players on D. That'd be like injuries and such. Not surprised when they are spending 2/3 of the game on the field. Yeah, like bad things start happening. Their muscles start, straining, spraining, and tearing and stuff. The 12 men on the field, yeah, that was another thing. The injuries have sunk the Vikings ship. Defense needs a stop here or a turnover. They've not stopped them all game. This is huge. We're saying it's certainly been a roller coaster. He picked the Purple by a point to win by a point, and we maybe could have if Nick Mullens could have driven the Vikings into the end zone and Mr. Greg Joseph could make the extra point. But of course, you had the interception in the end zone. What a shocker! Or in the red zone, excuse me. Mad Martin says Seattle wins. Seattle wins means if the Purple lose, they fall to the 8th seed and would need help to make the playoffs. Yep, and he was saying another TNT coming, and he knew it. He was right about that. So here comes the final post that I know of anyway. Mad Martin says unbelievable about that interception at the end of the game. Well, my friend, yeah, and that was 4 interceptions by Mullens, by the way. Well, my friend, that's the season. These one-score losses are so deflating. I've seen enough of Mullens. Merry Christmas, my Purple brother, and keep up the good work, Colin. Thank you so much. Again, I was telling him Merry Christmas as well, my brother. Thank you so much for the awesome call-ins and the powerful commentary. You are the absolute best. And here comes Dave Hickey coming out of Iowa. Says, also, I'm almost too pissed off to post, but not bad enough to wish you a Merry Christmas. And yep, Merry Christmas to you, Dave Hickey. Absolutely. And there's another post from Dave. Where's my reply? Oh, well, that's okay. It's more about what Dave said than what I said. Dave, again, says the defense disappointed again along with the offense. Mullens might be worse than Dobbs in turnovers. I say start the rookie the rest of the year. I kind of agree with both of you guys on that one. Yeah, start the rookie the rest of the year. Why the heck not? And just pray he doesn't get hurt. I can't believe the Broncos came back versus the Patriots, but the Patriots are so bad this year. I guess they did. God, annoying as blank Denver fans. Ugh, that is an annoying fan base. And I mean Denver of basically every sport, including the Avalanche and the Nuggets. Ugh, yuck, annoying fan base. Anyhow, to the Instagram account here, Purple Mafia Show again is what it is called. We'll be hearing from Mike Dale and Mark Carlson for sure, possibly Tanae as well. Let's get there for Pete's sake. I'm going to check the last week real quick. There is no comment on last week's. Okay, well, we'll continue from there. The Jordan Hicks return, no comment. And the in-game comment, here they are. Okay, so, yep, Mike Dale said, all right, I've seen enough. It's Jaron Hall time, and I said amen. Yep, Mike Dale also was saying, so undisciplined with committing these constant stupid penalties. Yeah, yep, there's way too many. Mike Dale continues, yep, from the New York State area. With the injuries to Hawkinson and Addison, I don't have much confidence in the Vikings winning in a tit-for-tat shootout contest against the Lions team. Yeah, same here. And there is Tanae Brown out of New Zealand. Pick Mullens instead of Nick Mullens, pick Mullens. Yep, I like that. Pick Mullens sums the game up right there. Defensive injuries makes it seem like they're trying to make Flores look worse so they can re-sign him too. That would be funny if he was laughing about that one, yeah. Maybe, oh yeah, let's just pretend like Flores isn't doing a good job, so isn't doing a spectacular job, so we can keep him. That'd be funny. Mark Carlson says, I watched the whole game, now I need a nap. The quarterback is the problem. Yep. Yeah, he was really bad, really bad. And yep, there's a couple of comments in the post-game thread. This week we got him through. That's awesome. I think we did last week too, thankfully. So 2 weeks in a row. Mark Carlson out of Iowa says, I could say a lot about this game. I won't. I will just say this. There were great plays made by great players and were great mistakes made by future no-name nobodies like Nick Mullens. Mike Dale with the big one. Yep, I love these classic. Excuse me. Mike Dale, here we go. If you're going to allow a quarterback to throw 3 or 4 interceptions a game and not pull him, you might as well start Josh Dobbs. Reason being, at least Josh Dobbs has capability and is a serious run threat. Yep, if they give him a chance to do so. Yeah, I remember that one game. They wouldn't even let him do that. Man, the AFC's really tight. Denver at 7-7 at the moment is 11th. Jeez. So somehow the Colts are still in. Oh, why do they have to take it away so quick? But I suppose I could probably pull it up on the ESPN or something. Anyhow, sorry. Reason being, at least Dobbs gives you some escapability and a run threat. What will it take to at least give Jaron Hall a chance? I would have been more perturbed if I thought this team had any chance of Super Bowl aspirations. Yeah, same here. However, since they're obviously not championship caliber material, at least they're making strides towards drafting a franchise quarterback that they can rally behind simply by losing. I am not treating this like a coal in my stocking. Man, oh man, the injuries are piling up. Addison and Murphy Jr., yeah, Murphy Jr. as well, were already out, and now Hawkinson, Wanham, and Blackman are injured, which are serious losses. When you're seeing Anderbooth Jr. and some guy from the practice squad named Williams unsuccessfully chasing after players like Amon, Raw, St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and Josh Reynolds, then you know that your team is effed and isn't in any position to go to the playoffs. But hey, at least we had another Madison, at least we had Alexander Madison back today. Yay! Shoot me now. Justin Jefferson is a freak of nature. Pay the man what he wants and use the money from Kirk Cousins' expired contract at the end of the season. Same with Daniil Hunter. Extend his contract as well. Good game by KJ Osborne stepping up for a missing Hawkinson and Addison. However, it was always going to be an uphill battle with a reckless, armed quarterback at the helm. Garrett Bradbury with his holding and offsides penalties, as well as Ed Ingram's bone-headed play, were annoying. Cam Bynum also had a few rough goes while turning to cover Sam Laporta. That said, the Ponder Memorial has to go to Mullens. Yep, I agree. Did I even give it to him? Well, it's to him now. I don't think I even mentioned the Ponder Memorial. Well, it is Mullens, yes. I don't think I mentioned it. So, yeah, you can't throw 4 interceptions and expect to win a game. They have a chance to do they have a chance to still make the playoffs? Maybe. Do I really care at this point? Not really. Yeah, same here. Like it would be a joke, really, like a sick prank. I always love seeing the Vikings beat the Packers, but if they lose on New Year's Eve, it won't knock my nose out of joint. Awesome, absolutely awesome. That was exquisite. I always love when Mike Dale writes those big ones at the end of the game. That was really good, like awesome. So, and is there anything to disagree with there? No. The offensive line sucked today, too, to go along with everything else, like everything else. But yeah, like Nick Mullens definitely is the Ponder Memorial. I didn't even say that at the end of the first segment. That's why I had that weird feeling, when you're like, I forgot something and I know I did, and I'm going to kick myself later. So that's what it was. That's funny. So yes, Nick Mullens, well, I'm sure you guessed it anyway. But yeah, well-deserved Ponder Memorial. He is horrendous, despite the fact he actually has skill, believe it or not. It's funny, but that's kind of the story of the backups. They have a skill, but they're not good at controlling the ball, or they just don't have a whole lot of they're good at controlling the ball but don't have a whole lot of skill. It's one or the other that's putting them in the backup position versus a starter. That's the difference usually between a starter and a backup in the National Football League. Like Tavares Jackson was extremely talented, but he was out of control, Gus Farrat had a combination of talent and control for the most part. It's just that, he was kind of like borderline-ish on both, you could say. But Gus Farrat was generally a starting quarterback in the NFL, just not a great one. That's kind of the thing there. Like, he had skills, but they weren't, like, way up there. Farrat was kind of the closest thing to a guy that could be in a quarterback controversy if it was two similar, level of talent kind of guys, like the 20th-ish quarterback in the league. That kind of thing, 20th, 25th quarterback in the league, best quarterback in the league. Then, yeah, that's kind of where Farrat was. So definitely kind of a starter level, but not elite. Anyhow, there I go babbling on about whatever, God knows. With that said, the gold star of this episode is going to go to Mad Martin, but a massive gold star or silver star with gold plating on it to Mike Dale. Wow, something's kind of serious out there, and boy, at Christmas Eve at 10:14. Oof, heaven forbid. Hope they're okay, whoever it is. Yeah, because you can hear the fire truck too. So hopefully it's nothing too scary. Man, Sorry, that's a lot of. We get a lot of sirens here in Golden Valley lately. I don't know why. It just seems different. It's a different vibe than it used to be. It just is. Where am I going with this? Back to football, if I can. Hopefully, football or podcast related. Okay, yes. Mad Martin Gold Star, silver, bronze plated, gold plated silver star for Mike Dale, and a silver plated bronze star for both Mark Carlson and Tanae Brown. Thank you guys so much. Awesome. And Dave Hickey, my God. Dave Hickey as well. How could he not get one as well? So thank you guys so much for being a part of this show. I just, really appreciate you very much, and hope you have a Merry Christmas, all of you listening that still listen to this show, still care about the Vikings. And, if you want to listen to a retro video game podcast, I finished up Bible Adventures recently. If you want to listen to a Christmas special retro video game podcast, so check that out, or any of the other options in the video game flashback library for retro video games. Check that out. I put a lot of work into that show. I there's no time. It's not time sensitive like this show, so there's no rush. That's the fun part about it. So check it out sometime if you could. Otherwise, sorry for throwing that in there, but it is what it is. Anybody wants to put a positive rating, 5-star rating on like Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcasting apps out there that allow you to do so, please do it. It really helps the show grow and continue to get noticed out there, because it doesn't show up in searches much lately for the last X amount of years, because all these other shows popped up and they have a lot of good algorithms. So I need a little help there if you'd be willing to do so. Other than that, have a Merry Christmas. God bless you. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you in a week as we head into New Year's Eve already. Jeez.